Talk Shoe.
Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you're listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable Podcast. This is podcast number 668. My name is Eric Nielsen, and with me today, I have my favorite co-host, Corey Romero. Today is Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. Corey, how you doing today?
Eric, I'm doing well. Got back from exploring Barcelona. Had a great time, and trying to get used to the time zone I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. We had the time zone shift, obviously, but then we had the daylight savings time shift as well. So that throws off. Get home and it's dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. It's hard to get used to that, but this happens every year. So here we go. On the podcast today, we're going to be talking to Piotr Tarnawski, senior system engineer for Salesforce. He was over at Explore Europe with us, so we'll talk to him about his impressions of Explore in Europe, as well as he has a couple blog articles out on his blog, angrysysOps.com. One of them is VMware ESXi Under Siege: The Rise and Threat of the Abyss Locker Ransomware. And we've talked about this, the ransomware for ESXi, a little bit handful of podcasts ago, but he does have some interesting history of where this came from on his blog. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but we'll also just talk about him in general and talk to him in the We Are Community podcast. But before we get to that, Corey, what's new? I know you were over at Explore, got to meet everybody, had a good expert party. I know apps are probably still open. What's going on with the experts?
Yeah, got a couple things. Yeah, so applications are open. So make sure you get your application finalized by January 18th. And so January 18th is when we're going to start doing our voting. And we're going to announce the 2024 program on or before February 16th. So that's the plan. That's what we're doing for the applications. We're also hosting a vExpert office hours. That's on Mondays and Thursdays, and that's for anyone who's interested in the vExpert program, want to become a vExpert. We sit for an hour, we discuss the program, figure out how we can help you. We'll even review your application before they go final, so that way we can kind of give you some feedback on your application and help you with that. One other thing I wanted to point out, one last piece of news, is I did a session with 4 other vExperts in Barcelona. It was a great session. If you're interested in getting involved in community, we cover a lot of stuff in that session. The session is called Level Up Your Career Through Community Participation. So you can find that information and a link to that session on the vExpert homepage at vexpert.vmware.com. Also, the office hours information is also on the homepage of the vExpert site.
That's a great session, Corey. My comment is I've been in community for a long time. I've never leveled up my career. It just seems like it's flatline, right? I just keep going year after year. Director, what does it get me anyway? I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder.
I definitely leveled up my career.
I have to smile at that. The other thing I would say is you had V Gandalf. I forget his name, Rob something, on the panel, and I ran into V Gandalf in the airport, right? And chatted with him in the security line and coming through customs, where you do loop back and forth. So we would loop back, say hello. I got stickers from him. I got the V Gandalf, wizard stickers from him, phone and laptop. So I had a lot of fun chatting with him, and I had missed him at the show. I saw him a couple times, but hadn't really gotten to know him. So I got to spend a little bit of time with him, took a selfie, tweeted out. A lot of fun. Yeah. Good guy in the community. So it's a lot of fun there. Yeah. So that was, I think that was it. I think we got through Explore in Europe pretty clean free. Broadcom didn't make any big announcements, but they did have Hawk10 up on the stage. So I think that was good. So let's introduce again and do the standard. Let's get Piotr back here and let him do a slight introduction to himself, and then we'll talk a little bit about Explore. So Piotr, why don't you just do a couple minutes? How did you get where you are? What does your career arc look like in a few minutes here?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me back on your show, guys. So I am the senior system engineer at Salesforce, as you know, and my VMware journey started a few years before. actually it's quite a few years before on the kind of university, when we then use VMware um, workstations to play the games on them, because the other system didn't work. So we virtualized the disks for the games. And then it be more and more, the concept of virtualization become more and more interesting, and the idea of having multiple servers and computers in it was a huge, it was like a 90s, end of the 90s, so 90, I can't remember now exactly, but yeah, it was something new, and it was very, very exciting to get into it and then start playing at home, start playing on the lab, on the university, and then through the different jobs, I got my teeth into the virtualization and into the VMware, and here we are today.
Yeah.
If we're talking about idea for the blog, obviously that's a huge kudos to William Lamb and Duncan, who those two first people which I read the blogs from, and then once I was doing kind of the support role. I create my own knowledge base, because for the repeating problems, how to solve them, I thought maybe I should share with the community, because my problems weren't that straightforward, or maybe I thought they weren't, and the solutions were not Googleable for the time being. Like so I said, yeah, let's see how it goes. And then I learned about the VExpert program, which was which is great program, and I applied and I become a VExpert, and I am VExpert second year now. I think the huge for me was the Barcelona this year, because the first time ever I got my own presentation on the community talk. I was talking about the snapshots, and what I learned from it, that VM Explorer is not only for people who already are deep in the VMware, but also there for the admins who start their journey. Because that session was huge success for me. I had a full house and no one left in during that, and I had some question afterwards. So yeah, the different level of knowledge is visiting VMware Explorer, which is great, and we can now exchange our ideas and experience over there.
Yeah, I think that was interesting, Corey. I know that you were working the front desk, but when his session was on, they had standing room only. I think we had 40 plus blogger tables, probably 50 people inside the theater area, right? And then outside we had a speaker that's aimed out, and we had probably another 20 people, so maybe 70 people were watching his session all the way through, packed, riveted. And that was the interesting thing from my perspective, was that this was a session that would probably never have gotten in, right, accepted, because snapshots isn't like what I'd call like a leading feature of the world, right, when it comes to multi-cloud and where the tracks tend to. But when you look at the community and what the community is actually submitting, it's like, yeah, snapshots, you need to do them. It's a good idea to do them. And then having some of the deep dives in what snapshots are like, it's like this is classic community, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the session I saw where people were even lined up outside the area, standing again like against between the wall. But that was pretty packed.
Yeah, and it's kind of like good to get the experts and others who are actually doing things, right? Like and then snapshots is one of those things where it's one of the tasks that you should probably do if you want to keep things backed up, or at least make versions of things that are templatized that you can go and deploy, right? So
it's something what we do day-to-day basis, but if you think of it and if you ask what is it or how does it work, and then you say like, oh wow, that's kind of how, and that's why like I decided to try that kind of topic, and there you are.
Right.
So,
And it's interesting. we got a lot of feedback across the way about the community sessions were the best sessions of the show, right? Like people would come up and go, I've booked in like 8 sessions here just from, I actually came here and just stayed all day because there was just stuff I wanted to see.
Yeah, in my opinion, as a visitor and not only a speaker, they take their best session. They are not long sessions; they are just enough session not to get overwhelmed with informations, but they give you some kind of pointers where you can look further. And yeah, so my opinion is that the community session are the best session. Yes.
Yeah, and the code sessions were actually 45 minutes, right? And even those
Yeah.
were crowded, and people stayed for the whole session because we kind of figured that code topics need a little bit longer time to, look at code and let the guys explain what they were actually coding. So those were a bit longer, like versus the community sessions were 15 and 30, depending on what you got slotted in. So kind of a busy place, right? And always like fun to see, real world, real case, not marketing, not product management, but actually just the community showing up and talking about things that are important to them. Corey, I felt like everybody that was there thought it was important to them, their subject, what they were doing, why they were coming by, just felt like they felt like everything was important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And one of the cool things that we did with the vExperts and the VMware events team this year was we got to pick a handful of vExperts who may not have had their sessions selected, and we got to have their sessions selected. So there were a couple of things that we did. One was we had 3 vExperts help out with changing the level of the technical sessions, right? So going through, looking at the information, and then going, oh no, that technical level isn't right, and make that modification. They got passes to the show as well as got their sessions accepted, and also 2 other vExperts. So I think we had a total of 5 for Barcelona, and I think we had 6 in Las Vegas. So it's really cool to see the community sessions or vExperts being chosen for the breakout sessions as well.
Yeah, I know we did that for some of the code sessions as well. I think we gave out maybe 5 code passes over, for the same point, right? They were something that we really wanted to have. I mean, in the US, we actually gave them session rooms, got them big halls because they were, really good topics. And the event team seems to be working with us more and more now, right? I think that's what you experienced.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was a good show. Peter, any takeaways from your perspective of what you thought was good about the show? How many shows have you been to? Like, this is your first, second, and then the question is like, what did you think? What were your takeaways?
Yeah, so my second Barcelona event, all other events were online only. So the first of all, the community and the ability to see people face to face and to just talk to them, because we can talk online and we can talk on the forums, but it's completely different once you meet someone face to face and you can exchange few words with them. Also, from this year, what I want to say that the main session was a bit blurry. It's all focused on AI, but I think AI is a hype word at the moment. So this was good intention of using AI, but I didn't see actually that in the implemented yet. I saw rather maybe the ideas and focus on what will be working. The good point of it was a Hans promise that he will invest the Broadcom, if that will go through, will invest in R&D and in VMware itself, which is, I think, great news.
Yeah,
Yep.
you do bring up some good points that I managed to get through the expo hall, right, where the vendors were, and there were a couple takeaways. One of them was the AI takeaway. I kind of felt the same thing you did, and VMware had a pod station in their booth that was the AI ML reference architecture, right?
Mhm.
And so I talked to the guy, and I'm like, so tell me exactly what is this, right? Like, because I was trying to understand, like, what do we offer with regards to AI and ML, like,
Yeah.
and it came down to, well, vSphere, ESXi, vSAN, and NSX. That's our reference architecture. No surprise there. Like, oh gosh, all right.
Yeah.
And then they have NVIDIA has a control library that allows you to control GPUs, right? And they've done an integration with that library, but you have to get the library third party. You have to go download their library and somehow plug it into either vCenter or something else. I didn't really get the details of it, but there is a NVIDIA library that they say, okay, and as part of the top level AI ML control, you can go get NVIDIA's library. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
So
and the license as well, obviously, I believe, because you
right.
have to get a NVIDIA license.
Yeah.
Like
And
for everything.
now they did say that they're busy working on integrations. They are working with doing more work with NVIDIA, and that they just haven't productized a lot of their work yet, so they can't talk about it, or they weren't willing to talk about it with me at the station. Let's put it that way. But so I think it's coming, but I felt like, just like you said, I think it's a little overhyped right now, right?
Mhm.
Because it's such a buzzword in the industry that everybody is talking about it, right?
Last year we had this focus, yes, cloud journey, and there was like a clear statement and clear path, cloud journey, and everyone knew. This year, as I said, it's like more AI, but we are just trying touch and go, and we see how it goes. Yes, obviously
Right.
that's the future, and it will happen. But yes,
Now, we have seen a lot of companies bringing back workloads because they want to put it on vSphere. So publishing that vSphere with NSX and vSAN is the reference architecture. That's not wrong, right? That's what our customers are starting to do, right? They're bringing back workloads into the data center on-prem because they want their models running, securely on-prem.
Yes, and what I see is that this is a great fit, and I think it's going that way for area suite, area operations, area automations, and that's when, in my opinion, the AI will play the major role over there.
Yeah, I agree with that. The other big takeaway, well, that was one of the takeaways. I thought that the edge computing demos that they had were actually compelling. They had Lego sets that all had automation and sensors and that stuff, like a factory floor. The big Lego set that was designed as a factory floor is fun to watch. It always had a crowd around it, right? But it was clearly the edge narrative is actually getting more mature. Alan Renouf works on some of that stuff now, and you can see that putting VMs out on the edge is actually happening, right? And there were some couple different examples that people gave me of that, which I thought, okay, this is now maturing as well, right? Like a pretty solid mature market.
Yeah.
And then the last one that I was actually most impressed with overall was the cloud vendor presence, right? Did you get to go over to the expo hall, and did you notice how busy all the booths were? Microsoft was huge in there. AWS had their booth. It was big. They were there. Oracle was big. They were there. IBM was big. They were there. And the crowds that were around each of the booths, was like, I think there were like 50 people standing around each booth, watching some theater presentation, which I was taken aback by. I feel like cloud has hit its stride now, right? Did you get that same impression?
Yes, I don't know if he's asking me or Corey.
Yeah, Peter.
Yes, that's true. I stopped by Google Cloud. They had a very good presentation. AWS, obviously, as we're working with them as well. But the best marketing had a HP. What they did, that was a very clever thing. They asked audience like us to repeat 3 words: HP, Golden Lake, ProLiant. and that's what you need to know. And they like make everyone like repeat, and then you're going home. And you staying with the head with those things. And it's like, okay, I have to check what's online, what's going on. And that was brilliant. Like, in my opinion, it's brilliant marketing.
Yeah, sometimes keep it simple, right? Like
Very simple. And they
Right.
give you the stickers for prizes like, you show HP, there you are. Another ticket. And people did that. So
I
it
was
stays.
just shocked that even on Thursday when I walked through the expo, I had to go get my shipping labels, right? Because we shipped some of the gear back from the labs, the Code Labs, and walking through there again, like it was just crowded at every booth, right? There was like 20 people standing around, each booth. It was crowded. You couldn't even stand there sometimes. It was so crowded next to a booth that you weren't going to be able to get in and talk to anybody, which I was actually surprised that the cloud vendors were there, right? That everybody was there, all the big guys. And we talked to Microsoft, and Microsoft says, yeah, they spend more money on this booth coming to explore than they do their own Microsoft, I want to say Ignite or something like that. They have theirs this week, right? They said they actually spend more money coming to VMware's than they do their own, because this is where the enterprise buyers are, right? They were like, yeah, you guys get the enterprise buyers here, right? No,
the expo was very good. As you said, there was like loads of people visiting, and every major player was there. So yes, very informative and insightful. Also what I noticed was the another like a slogan was ransomware everywhere. Yes, so we had a kind of the vendors which doing the backups and ransomware protection, and that was a main theme as well through the expo hall.
Yeah, data
which
protection
makes sense, obviously, but yeah. And one of the vendors has their own labs as well, which was very very interesting to see how that thing works in real life scenario.
I didn't see, maybe I just didn't look close enough. I didn't see a lot of hardware, right? Like, in the old days, you would go through Expo and you would see storage systems and racks, and you'd see
they were
they were. Must have not seen it then. Yeah, okay.
There were few. There were few.
All right, vendors.
3 or 4 vendors. Yes, they were with the solutions. Yeah, we talked with Dell and HP. And
I want to say Dell really
storage.
comes down to Dell and HP these days, where they've got their servers sitting and they're demoing with their latest stuff. I guess I did go by Dell, and I did check out some of their gear. They had laptops there, so they're plug and play.
No, they had the new laptop, the new servers, which are very. The size is very small, but they are very powerful. As well, Pure Storage had a very nice solutions, like they show that. Yes, so they were there.
Yeah. I just got so enamored by the cloud that I wasn't surprised. And Tony Foster says, yeah, there was Dell had gear there, right? So yeah, I just must have missed it, right? So, but it was so busy and so crowded, and yeah, I guess it was 9,000 plus people. It didn't seem as crowded as the year before, even though it was the same number of people. Like, I think the year before we had 9,000 plus, coming up to 10,000. And this year it was the same, but I felt like they managed the space better. They got more space for everybody. Like, it was the hub area was big, and there was plenty of space for everybody. I didn't feel on top of each other like I did the year before.
Yes, I like the new layout. So they moved the main stage where was the last year, and they put the hub, our community hub, and all the champions rewards, Odyssey over there, which was very good, and that was well planned. Labs as well. So yes, very, very good layout, and yes,
and more space for everybody. So the year before they didn't have enough space, and this year we had 2 theaters plus code lab space, ChatGPT lab in the back, and so we had enough space, and then a lot of seating space out in front. So I felt like the year before we were packed into one little room, right? Like one little area, and we were just giving away the nooks, and we had lines in front of the nooks, and then we all came back with COVID, right? Or at least me and Matt Langguth. Yeah.
Actually, I back as well with that one. I think it's for the playing, and I'm just suffering now.
Did you get COVID, or you just get sick?
No, COVID.
You got COVID. Yeah.
So my
I,
voice could be like a bit like strange because it's still not there yet. But
yeah. Well, thanks for being here. I mean, and I didn't know you're still recovering. I know Andy Nash from the UK. He announced yesterday he was sick over the weekend and he tested today for COVID. Right, so it's like it's out
yeah.
there.
I spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah.
No, I think I think it's a plane. You don't need to worry. I'm pretty sure it was in the plane. I had a guy who like sniffing behind me in the plane was going back from Barcelona.
I know that when I was coming back from Barcelona, there were 3 people, one, 3 seats to the right of me, one directly behind me, off the left one seat, and then one other one coughing, definitely sick, definitely, trying to suppress their cough. You could tell they were absolutely sick.
Yeah.
So I wore my N95 mask the whole flight. Right, like I took it off to drink some soda and eat a little food, but then I just put it right back on. Right, and I hate that thing because it hurts my ears. But I was like, I'm not gonna pick it up from the airplane this time. So I would strongly recommend it. Everyone adopt this policy, which is I don't wear a mask. I didn't wear a mask at VMworld or at Explorer. I did, I went unmaskless, but I always had a mask in my pocket. And I found myself near a bunch of people and somebody coughed, I just put it back on. I just put my mask on. And then for flying, I wore my mask the whole time. Anytime I was in the airport and in a plane, I wore it except when I wanted to eat. Then I would take it off for 5 minutes and eat. And I think you got to be near someone for 15 minutes unprotected to pick it up. So, and knock on wood, I haven't got sick since I've started that policy.
Yes, so I booked today. I booked the special room in the office because for the podcast and everything. And here I am at my home. I could barely manage to keep up my equipment.
But I'm going to start calling the Explore conferences the COVID inoculation event. Right, you go there, you get your yearly COVID inoculation, you come back. It doesn't seem to kill us anymore, so it's actually fine. Right, other than
it could be on some T-shirts, or the last year was the socks from Rubik's.
Yeah. Get that slogan on.
You never know. You get a bonus with your T-shirt.
I think they would fire me. So let's take a turn. That was our Explorer experience. You're the angrysysops.com, angrysysops.com, ANGRY sysops.com. You've been blogging out for a while. And you got an article out there, VMware ESXi Under Siege, the rise and the threat of the Abyss Locker Ransomware.
Yeah.
A nice little short article. It's not long. And I know we talked about what has happened because I had a server on in my rack. I keep a rack in San Jose. It's kind of like my home labby thing, but I just have it in a rack. And it got hacked. One of my machines got hacked and 3 of my VMs got encrypted, and I never recovered them. I just had to rebuild them. Right. And fortunately I didn't have anything really important on it. And so, we just rebuilt everything, but I think it cost me a couple $1,000s to have a couple guys rebuild some of the stuff that I had that I wanted, that I needed to actually have rebuilt. But this thing has been out here for a while, and I didn't have my server behind a firewall, right? I was just happily home labbing in a rack, right? And I didn't really worry too much about it.
Yeah.
I had it behind a firewall, but then a guy moved the firewall and just put me right direct onto the network. I didn't even know, right? So it's like, oh, I was on the direct network and I didn't know. And then I hadn't patched my 6.5, right? So anything under 7.0 was vulnerable to this attack. And so my 3 or 4 of my VMs got encrypted, and there was a fix for it that the federal government published to unencrypt your VM, but it didn't work for me, right? Like it said it worked, and then I tried to boot them, and they wouldn't boot. They were just like, no. And so I was either doing something wrong or it didn't work one way or the other. I don't know what happened. Interesting thing in your article is that you did mention the history of some of the stuff, the history of this guy was coming from Hello Kitty, right? So your article actually mentioned that it looks like somebody, and I hadn't heard that yet. So did you pick that up from somewhere, or how do you know that? Like, what's the story there?
Yes. Yeah. So I picked up from I can't remember where was that I was like researching this Abyss Locker, and yeah, it appears that it's coming from Hello Kitty, which was like the gaming attack before. Um, but going back to what you said about the decrypting your system, and I published that as well. The FBI works on it, and they published that. However, even if you get that unencrypted, and especially for the home lab, would you like? I wouldn't believe that system is like fully,
Safe.
ransomware
Yeah.
free
Right.
on the same state. So, yeah, I would rather rebuild that as well, and because you never know what's still there, like unless you would have like a super safe backup plan on it. So yes, I was surprised researching that actually, like for the first time, that the attackers actually are focusing on the ESXi, and the one is because I thought in my world I would never like expose my infrastructure to the internet, and I didn't know that some people still do that. And I'm not talking about the home lab, but there's like some corporation which they are vulnerable. And there was a great example in Ireland, and our health provider was encrypted. Was encrypted. So the like national health provider was encrypted. The hackers, the ransomware people, they got pity and they gave them the decryption key. Either they paid, but the story here is that they just gave them the decryption key because it was health service. But I don't know. So yes.
Yeah.
The few things which comes to the mind if that's the ransomware, like don't expose your infrastructure. Yes, it should be obvious, but it's not. Like keep your infrastructure up to date and behind firewalls. Like, so that's the bare minimum you can do.
Yeah, I think
that's the message.
I think that the federal government went and looked at how many of those you've been hacked pages were up online, right? Like they were, because when it got hacked, it put a little notice: your ESX server has been hacked. You've been encrypted. Here's where to go to get your keys back. Blah blah blah. Right? They wanted like a Bitcoin for mine. I'm like, yeah, that's like, or 2 Bitcoin or something. It was $40,000. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying. That's no ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So, but for anybody that had a production server, that would be bad. I think it just creeps up on you where, you set something up and there wasn't anybody attacking ESXs in the past, right? So you had it up for like multiple years, right? And it's just some service you got up and running and you don't even know you have it up and running. And then the next thing you know, years go by, you haven't patched it, right? It's just up and running. And then one day it's not, right? And that catches everybody by surprise. And just like my instance where you thought you were behind a firewall and then somebody unjacked you and plugged you right into the network, and you didn't know that somebody did that at all. You had no idea that somebody just pulled me up and I wasn't behind a firewall anymore. Of course everything worked right, like there was no problem with it. They just jacked me into the net, right? And I didn't know. And so all of a sudden you're there. But there's other crazy things that happen as well, right? Like even behind a firewall, my WordPress index files got hacked, right? And they did insertion into my index.php throughout my WordPress environment, right? So even if you're behind a firewall, there are sneaky ways to get in.
Obviously, yes, of course, it doesn't guarantee anything, but so another thing which I was surprised doing research, like people keep access to ESXs on, like a SSH access. And I think I did one entry about like how to use a PowerShell to run as a job and check if SSH is on and disable SSH access. And I got like I got to the conversation with few people and I said, but we need this for the troubleshooting purpose. I said, okay, so fair enough. Just turn it on the time when you need to access your host, and then turn it back off. And the same with the lockdown mode. Lockdown mode is a very cool feature. Yes, even root cannot get into the ESXi host. So there are measures which we can take as admins, and they should be taken, and they are obviously the humans are the weakest link. So if they're going through you, and that's it. That's nothing you can do. But yes, it's just a common sense. Yes, keep
Yeah.
keep the less privileged access. Yeah.
Yep. So
And
let's
zero
get back.
trust.
Yep. Let's get back to your blog for a second.
Yeah.
I noticed that. How long have you had your blog up? It seems like
This is
a
there will
couple
be like
years.
no, under over 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Over 2
good.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. How do you put your ads up? Just because we talk about blogging here a little bit.
Yes.
So, and I noticed that you have a banner out at the top. You have a insertion ad halfway
Yeah.
down. Maybe that's yours.
That's mine.
Tales from the
That's my book, which I
shadows.
wrote.
Right.
This is my second 5 seconds advertisement. That's my second hobby apart from IT, is the true crime stories. And I listen to lots of podcasts, and I decided to write a book as a something you
write a
do,
book.
yeah,
Sure.
as you
Yeah,
do.
Book,
So, and I put this on Amazon, so that link is to my book. So it's my private.
You got your book, and then you got an ad at the bottom. Are you using an ad broker like and did you set up an account?
No, this is the simplest way. It's just AdSense from Google.
Yeah. All right. What's it
So
called? Accent?
AdSense.
Accents. Okay.
AdSense.
Oh, AdSense. Got
Yeah,
it.
no, sorry again. It's just a COVID talking book.
Yeah. So you just get an AdSense account. Set up an AdSense account from Google, and then they give you JavaScript or some code.
You can do it yourself. You can position them, but you can do the automatic job. Just click whenever you want that to appear, and that it appearing.
Did you make any money on those?
Not really. Like few,
Not
like
couple dollars here there, like
couple dollars a few months, like I would say.
Okay, all right. So under $100 a month, you're not getting wealthy.
Yeah. Like a 20 maybe a month.
Interesting. I've never done that, but I was just curious because I was going through your blog and I'm like, oh, right,
it has to be like super active website. I don't know, like few million maybe.
Another one that I got to ask you is, what is Buy Me a Beer? I didn't click on it, but I did see it.
Click on it, you will see.
I mention that. That's the best one.
That's the best one. If you click on it, you can buy me a beer. Like,
you send them €5.
Oh, that's
€5, or multiply by 5 if you wish to buy me a few beers.
Yeah. You can buy 3, 5, or 10 beers, and your net and then it sends you money. Right? Is that Buy Me a Coffee? That's a website. That's a SaaS
coffee.
Website as well,
Yeah. I think I think original was Buy Me a Beer, but they said, alcohol, and the more PC world we're living in, they went with the coffee.
I like that. Buy Me a Coffee. I'm gonna just put that on my email. I'm just gonna make one of these and just put it on my email signature.
Yeah.
You listen to it, buy me a coffee. If you want, you listen to the podcast and you want to be nice, you can buy me a Pete's coffee. Here it is, a link for that. Yeah, I don't know. On the other hand, I make a lot of money, so I shouldn't really. I don't need people to pay me for more. I probably make more than most people anyway. So
it's nice. That's nice.
I don't know that. I'm just saying that to be nice. Probably people. Admins make pretty good money these days. All right. So that's your blog. I think that's my interaction with your blog, is that I noticed that you're one of the few bloggers that actually have ads put in. So, and it's not just you have a banner ad and a footer ad, and then obviously you wrote a book, so you have that, and then you have a Buy Me a Beer, right? So not bad at all.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, Yes, I put the ads just to see how they works. This is nothing like if say in my case, it's nothing you can live on. So I cannot quit my job and live from the ads. And as I said, it's just a few quid a month, and
Yeah.
it's less than a beer, I would say, or maybe 2 beers a
I
month.
meant to ask you, what country do you live in? I mean, I usually...
Ireland.
Oh, Ireland. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I saw, Ross, I saw somewhere that Ireland has a bigger economy than the UK now, right? That they, in tech, they have superseded the UK with regards to either its overall or probably tech. I think it was probably tech that I was looking at, where they were
Maybe.
how did Ireland surpass the UK, right? And there was a, I think it was a clickbait article, but it was, I think it's true. Ireland has a pretty big tech world there because a lot of IT moved there, Apple moved there, everybody moved there to do their
So
final assembly or
yeah,
a
there
bunch
was
of
a
things, right?
we gave them like the good tax
Right.
deductions, and they didn't need to pay tax for 7 or 10 years or so. And there was a case in court even with European Union against Apple in because
Yeah.
Ireland didn't charge Apple, and the EU said no, you have to start charging them, and it's like back and forward. Yeah, and now especially after Brexit, the island is like a gateway to Europe.
Right.
So
Because the UK left, Ireland
they're
stayed in.
like a
Yeah.
single
Is your
market.
currency euros, or are they?
Yes, it's euro.
You got the euros. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, that was my question. I meant to ask you that. As you go forward here, and you're coming into the next year, 2024, right? What excites you about the IT and the tech industry? Is there anything that you think you've already questioned the idea of AI and ML not really being mature yet? Are there things that you look at going, oh, these are the things that I am going to pay attention to and work on?
We still, I'm still on the kind of journey to build to get some kind of solutions fits one for all. So what we are planning to do is to, for our customers, to give them one kind of portal when they can choose to which cloud or on-prem they want to go. Okay, so it's kind of like a few products combined together, like let's say vCloud Director and area automation to create those VMs, but it's not. It's on its own. It's not enough. So we are looking for something to combine and to have access to all clouds and on-prem environments, and to make that like maybe VMware on AWS kind of solutions, like to transfer VMs. Maybe we'll be using HSX to move VMs back and forward. Actually, there was very good lab about this in VMware on the Explore, VMware Explore. So yes, kind of still that cloud journey, which we are on the road and we haven't finished yet. Obviously, AI has to be the part of the of that roadmap, and yes, so those two major things.
Yeah, that's interesting. It brings me back to the Starbucks guys.
Yeah.
They were saying they're using ARIA and management to determine, location to put their workloads, right? Whether it's targeting on-prem, targeting various cloud offering, and then looking at the cloud pricing and doing it dynamic based on current.
This is some kind of vision, yes. So let's say like we have like those. There's two things like so the cloud on like a public cloud, let's say either AWS or Azure or GCP, they are very good once you have a service which needs to be scalable. Yes. So let's say like Netflix is a very good example. Times Christmas, they need to size, more and more sizing for the holiday periods. Like if then if it's quiet, then they size down. But if you have like a stable service, which it won't grow very fast, the on-prem is a good solution for you. And then you have this service like ARIA, which will give you these projections like, okay, on the month of December, let's put this to AWS. And maybe on the next month, keep this AWS, or let's go back to GCP because in January, this could be cheaper for us. And February, let's go back on-prem. So something on that solution, which you can just move between the on-prem and the clouds. That's the way to go. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that seems to be where people are now going as this technology matures, right? As
Yes,
the automation technology matures, and that's what I thought by seeing all the cloud vendors there, that actually customers are really starting to deploy workloads into clouds, right? And then the cloud vendors are competing for the business, right? They're competing, trying, and they're doing a lot of marketing, a lot of stage to get everybody interested in, deploying their workloads to their cloud, which is kind of what Raghu's original vision was with multi-cloud, right? Was the idea that if we could do this, it'll make the hyperscalers actually have to compete, right? And if your workloads are mobile enough, then they'll have to be price conscious, right? So.
Yes, that's why the last year vision was like more appealing to me than this year vision. Again, however, they both will play around, or the cloud journey and AI that will combine together. And again, I think that the solution will be finding the best cost for you at the certain time. Yeah. And I see that because in past there was very difficult to move one solution VM from like Azure to on-prem, or excuse me, but we are getting there. Yes, with HSX. We're getting there slowly but surely.
All right. Well, good. Yeah, that's my takeaway as well, right? Like I thought that the automation, and it does make me think about code, the code program a little bit, and spending a little bit more time recruiting ARIA content, right? Because I think that even though we'd like to write pure PowerShell, to do some of this stuff, I think in the end it will be mouse driven over time and be completely integrated, and therefore ARIA makes a little bit more sense to do some of that automation and connectivity, and then they're building it, so why not use it, right? So I think there's some work on getting people experience on what that's like and how to do that. And maybe code could be a part of that. And we have in the past focused on ARIA automation topics in code as well. So, and it's not quite as codey as like writing things PowerShell from scratch, but it is interesting because that's the complete automation journey, right? So yeah, interesting times. Yep. Well, with that, we're coming up to the top of the hour. We do live stream this on vBarbecue, so youtube.com/vbarbecue, BARBECUE. If you want to take a look at what Piotr looks like, you can just go there and see his beautiful sick self on the screen.
Not the best day.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, go there. And because we do host on vBarbecue, we ask all our guests, and it is lunchtime in California, do you guys get to do any kind of barbecue over there in Ireland? And if so, are you a transplant from somewhere else that brings kind of your own meat choices into Ireland? And what would you say your favorite thing to barbecue would be?
Yes. So yes, I am originally come from Poland.
Okay.
So we have a different. In Poland, is a different it's not barbecue. It's called grill. So and we put the sausages on it, not the steaks or other meats. Right. So we inject that tradition into Ireland as well. And sometimes it was a joke that between Poland and Ireland and UK, there is more meat traveling than the people actually, because it's all the Polish sausages, Polish meat.
Right.
Because in fairness, our meat Polish is a bit better than Irish.
Yeah, I
We're
can
using
imagine.
more different things. So yes, we have a barbecue in Ireland, obviously. Depends, like, actually whole year you can have it, because but the only downside is that very often it's raining. So
Yeah.
so
Do
that's a
you
downside.
smoke?
But
Do you guys smoke sausage as well? Do you smoke it or do you just cook it?
again, this smoking is, I don't know if it's if it's in Poland, yes. So we bring the smoke sausages. Then yes, yeah, and I have it, yes, because we have like a Polish supplies to give us. So that's what we do. What else? Well, we're doing the steaks. Obviously, I have a friend, Pedro is Brazilian, and he's doing the best steaks from barbecue. Uh, I
Nice.
haven't eaten better one yet. So he's a steak chief. Also, we do the chickens, ribs, which is good as
Mr.
well.
Romero, do you get outside and smoke anything, or is it now up in the mountains in Utah where you got to shovel your way to anywhere?
Yeah, no, we get snow up in the mountains higher than us. Everything else is melted off. But yeah, we're still barbecuing, still smoking some meats. Actually, I think this weekend I might make a brisket.
Oh, nice. There
Yeah,
you go.
that's a long cook, but thankfully with these Traegers, you just turn it
You just
on.
put 'em on and let it go. Yeah, go find a buffalo up there roaming around, and hack
moose,
off a leg and throw it on the smoker. I can see you doing that. We were having conversations with Brian Graff, who runs the code program now, and Brian's like, oh yeah, well, we go out and hunt before we barbecue. We have to catch it, right? We have to, he starts talking about which rifles he uses and what he hunts for, mostly deer, right? But yeah, that's different places, right? He's going to go out and hunt his meat and put it on the grill. Then he smokes it, right? Which is interesting. Tony Foster, I know you're out over there on TalkShoe. Anything you got to report? Any snow barbecue going on yet?
We haven't had any snow yet, so no snow barbecue, no trips around the house barefoot or anything yet.
Yet.
Doing some KC strip tonight because we're still in the 70s here.
Oh my!
So yeah, it's a weird fall, and I'll take it.
I did not do a Bay Area weather report, but and the color of the Bay, but we got a storm come through. So we got rain today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day after that. So winter has officially arrived, which means all of you guys that are east of me will be getting some winter probably in a couple days, right? Because and it's cold, it's chilly. It's not that chilly, but it's in the 50s and rainy and cloudy, and so the winter has arrived, right? Which is just in time for Thanksgiving next week. So I'm okay.
There you go. Yeah. Well, while you're dealing with that, I'll be thinking of you this evening as I'm grilling Kansas City strip steaks and Brussels sprouts.
Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with steak and Brussels sprouts.
I'm just going to drive to Kansas.
Yeah, just
on my way.
Yeah, get on over. That's only like a state over. That's probably only like 5 hours.
No, it's 2 states.
Yeah, 2 states.
Right. There you go. All right. Well, there you go. What's in the middle between? We got Utah, then what is it? Colorado. Then
Colorado.
Yeah.
And then you get Kansas.
The funny thing
you
is
have
when
to
I was
drive halfway in.
I flew from Europe. I came into New Jersey, New York, right? Like came into that airport. So I split it up. I didn't come all the way from Barcelona or go up to Frankfurt and then all the way into San Francisco. I came directly from Barcelona into New Jersey. But the interesting flight is then New Jersey to San Francisco is at the same parallel. So they basically brought me straight over the straight line from New Jersey to San Francisco, which gets all of these states, right? Where you came across Kansas, Colorado, Utah, and I got to look down and see the size of the cities because by the view, I was on the right-hand side of the craft and I got to see, all of the major cities came across. You could see Pennsylvania and you could see Ohio and Lake Erie and Toledo, Cleveland, Toledo, Chicago, and then right on across through the states. And it was interesting to see them and the relative sizes of the cities they were under, they were looking down at. But it was 8 in the evening, so it was dark, but you could just see all the lights of the cities, and we came directly across the whole U.S. there on that parallel, which is interesting. I waved at you, Corey, but you weren't home. You were still over.
Yeah, I was in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is fun to get to see you, Corey, because we spend so much time in this land here that when I actually saw you, I was like, I was actually not used to the non-virtual version of Corey, right? Like, I was.
We should do the VMware Explore in Amsterdam. That would be more fun.
That would be a lot of fun. That would be hallucinogenic at best, right? There's
But
lots
look what idea I could come up with that.
Yeah.
And that's sessions.
Yeah. Well, I know that they announced that they were going to be doing the 3 Explorers next year and going forward. But so that was one of the messages from Hawk, assuming the Broadcom purchase goes through. He was talking about keeping US, Europe, and APJ, all 3 going year after year. He's very supportive of running them, believes that they're a great way for everybody to get together and talk about implementations. And so he thinks they're absolutely important for the ecosystem. So that was good to hear from him.
Good news, yeah. Good news.
Yep. Yeah, good news across the board. And with that, we're at the top of the hour. So Piotr, thanks a lot. Are you on Twitter? What's your Twitter handle? And then we'll let you go.
Yeah, I am. It's at Angry Sysops.
Angry Sysops it is. At Angry Sysops. Thanks for spending your lunch with us, or
Thank you
late
for
in the
having
evening
me.
for you. Yep, in Europe. Great to see you. And get well. Hope the rest of your COVID journey goes smooth. And we'll have you back again, I'm sure. And can't wait to see you again next year. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Yep,
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.